It's a very simple story why we started Berkeleyside. The three of us lived here and we knew nothing about what was going on in our city.
We sort of casually created this news site where we would put up stories, we would aggregate news. You know, we did it in this very sort of lackadaisical way.
But it rapidly developed into something which wasn't a blog. It was more an online newspaper, but without the paper.
Kind of like, Bing Crosby and the old musicals. We thought, we could put on the show right here in the old barn. We knew journalism. We were all reporters, all journalists, and we thought we can do this.
We got this incredible feedback right from the beginning saying, give us more. We need to know more.
People were reading it, people were paying attention, and we realized that there was a demand out there for close coverage of Berkeley.
People want to know what's happening in their community. It's a basic need and an essential need, I think. I would argue it's essential to democracy. I mean, it's been proven that communities that don't have reporters going to city council meetings, there are higher levels of corruption in city government. Invariably, we have one reporter at every city council meeting, and we live tweet them, and that's become there's a sort of cult following for our live tweets of the Berkeley City Council meetings. The first time I went to a city council meeting, I was very struck by how fundamental it was. I was seeing democracy in action.
We have won a number of awards for our journalism. Emily Ragusa, who's our senior reporter, she won the Journalist of the Year award 2 years ago from the Society of Professional Journalists. And that was a real honor because it was a recognition of the importance of local news. Where we joined other news organizations throughout the Bay Area to devote a day of coverage to issues about people experiencing homelessness. And we won an award for that.
I'll never forget the first time I really understood what we were doing with Berkeleyside was when somebody ran down the street to stop me and said, "Are you Tracey Taylor? I'm so excited to meet you. You are doing such a wonderful job. Thank you, thank you, thank you for Berkeleyside. Thank you for everything you do. We are so informed. We're so much better off as a community because of what you're doing."
It's a city of 120,000 people. There are lots of cities of 120,000 people, but not to demean any of them, but a lot of them are really boring places. Berkeley isn't boring. Obviously, it has this world-class research university that's incredibly important, but it also, as a city, has an incredible history of innovation, of thinking on the edge.
I think Berkeley is a very dynamic, engaged city. I think people care a lot about what's going on in their city. It's highly educated, people are opinionated, and they are very engaged in what's going on. The news business is a very difficult business to make work financially. But we've also found, and this comes back to our community and how integral they are to our sustainability, we've also found readers are willing to support us. We have no paywalls, everything is free. We all instinctively believe that everything we publish should be available to anybody. Being open to all and free to all is just part and parcel of who we are.
There's a big crisis in local news around this country, and there are huge swaths of this country that are news deserts. But what people don't know is there are hundreds of news sites around the country, like Berkeleyside, reporting on just local communities. I think Berkeleyside has been influential. People could come to Berkeleyside to read about what's happening. They can leave comments about what's happening. And believe me, the politicians and the police chief and the fire chief, they read the comments on Berkeleyside.
Our kind of privileged position of being purveyors of the news also means we need to be listening and we need to be in dialogue with our readers. Communication providers have these global spanning networks, but ultimately there needs to be a cable that comes to your house, and we're that last mile in terms of news provision. The kind of traditional role of journalism, and I think it's an important one, is to afflict the comfortable and comfort the afflicted. That's something we take seriously.
People have said to us many, many times that they feel more connected to Berkeley because of Berkeleyside. And that, I think, is the benefit of local reporting. You were talking about what's happening in your community, and if you don't know what's happening in the community, you don't feel as connected, and you can't, necessarily work to change what's happening.
It's very hard to switch off from this job, and some people would say that's a terrible thing and commiserate, but actually I think it's because we're just really in love with it. I think we really do care about getting it right and doing a good job and continuing to serve the community. And we've had people saying, I've lived in Berkeley for 30 years and I never knew what really as much as I do now about the city, thanks to you.
I think one of the really fascinating things we found in creating Berkeleyside over these 10 years is even in a city of 120,000, which is it's a medium-sized city, there are so many things to write about, so many things to cover, and it's almost unending. So we're very, very ambitious in those terms. But we also look around us and see places that, like Berkeley before we started, are uncovered. And one of our developing mantras is every city deserves a Berkeleyside.